Everyone thought he was a cursed child, but he turned out to be the strongest warrior and ended up marrying a beautiful witch. This is Oscar's story. Oscar is the prince of a powerful kingdom, but his life has been cursed since childhood. The day he encountered the all-powerful Witch of Silence, everything changed. He barely remembers what happened except one thing. His mother died that day, and the witch left him with a terrifying curse. He would never be able to have a child. His bloodline would end with him. Since then, Oscar has spent his entire life searching for a cure, digging through ancient books in the royal library, exploring ruins and risking his life in dangerous dungeons. But after years of searching, he finds nothing. So he sets his sights on a new target, a mysterious and beautiful witch who lives inside the legendary Crystal Tower, hidden deep within the desert. Determined, Oscar sneaks out of the castle with his assistant, Lies, who is absolutely not ready for this mission. He keeps warning Oscar. Witches are dangerous. We shouldn't mess with them. But Oscar? He doesn't care. After a long journey, they finally find it. A massive tower standing alone in the middle of nowhere. The Crystal Tower. Lies is already panicking, but Oscar casually walks up and opens the door like he owns the place. Inside, the tower is breathtaking and deadly. Legends say the witch has lived here for thousands of years, and anyone who reaches the top gets their wish granted. Sounds simple, right? Yeah, not really, in centuries. Only one person ever made it to the top, Oscar's grandfather, Regius. He started the climb with 10 men, but reached the top alone. Everyone else died along the way, but Oscar? He's completely unfazed. He steps onto the first floor and everything seems quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, snakes appear everywhere. Lies starts freaking out, but Oscar casually grabs one mid-air and tosses it aside. Relax, they're not venomous. Just a test. He then notices a stone slab covered in symbols, and instantly recognizes it, a mathematical equation. One that was considered impossible to solve, until Oscar solved it himself years ago. He writes the answer, and just like that, the path to the next floor opens. Meanwhile, at the top of the tower, a mysterious girl informs the witch that someone cleared the first trial. The witch is intrigued, but not impressed. He won't survive the next floor, because next comes a guardian beast, and it's supposed to be unstoppable. But the moment it attacks, Oscar slices it clean in half. One swing. Gone. Even the observers are shocked. And just like that, he keeps climbing. Soon, they reach a massive wooden gate. Oscar opens it, revealing 2 giant statues. And he already knows. They're not just statues. The moment their eyes light up. They attack. Yui charges. Oscar dodges. The second follows. Up he blocks it, and in one clean motion, he slices it in half. The second statue tries to grab him, but Oscar is faster. He drives his blade straight through it, and finishes it with a single strike. Another floor cleared. Lies sighs in relief, thinking it was easy, but Oscar shuts that down instantly. Those things were strong. One hit, and we'd be dead. Then suddenly, the ground starts shaking. Cracks spread beneath their feet. The floor collapses. They get separated. Oscar tries to help, but Lies stops him. Keep going, or we both die. And before Oscar can react, Lias falls. Gone. Oscar is shaken. But he doesn't stop, because turning back was never an option. With heavy steps, he climbs the final staircase and reaches a massive door. He pushes it open. At the top of the tower, Oscar doesn't find a throne room, but a strange, quiet storeroom, leading out to the rooftop, and there, a table is already set. Before he can react, a girl descends from the sky, under the beautiful moonlight. The witch. She gracefully lands in front of him, and congratulates him for conquering the tower, then casually invites him to sit. She introduces herself as Tina, and pours tea for both of them like this is just a normal meeting. Oscar is confused, because this is not what he expected. Instead of some old, terrifying witch, she looks young, elegant, almost unreal. Tina notices his reaction and calmly explains, she stopped aging thousands of years ago, so this is how she'll always look. Oscar then introduces himself, the Crown Prince. That catches her attention instantly. She asks, "Are you related to Regius, the man who climbed this tower 70 years ago?" Oscar nods. "That was my grandfather." Now she's genuinely impressed, because even Regius didn't climb the tower alone, but Oscar, he did it solo. Oscar then asks if she lives here alone, but suddenly, a small girl named Lido appears, the witch's companion. She casually drops a bomb. Lise is alive, just asleep, under a tree. Placed there safely by magic, Carr relaxes, and thanks her. Then he asks the real question. What happens to the people who fail the tower? Tina sighs. "I'm not a barbarian," she explains. "Whenever someone is about to die during a trial, they are instantly teleported back to the bottom. Their memories are erased, and they're sent away, alive." Oscar is surprised, because one hit from those statues should have killed anyone. But Tina, she had already accounted for that. This entire tower was just a test. Finally, Oscar reveals why he came, to break his curse. Tina listens carefully, then shakes her head. Even with her power, she cannot undo a curse placed by another witch. She gently touches his face, revealing glowing red markings across his body. The curse is deeply rooted. Oscar asks, "Is there any way to break it?" Tina gives him two options. 1. Find the Witch of Silence. Or 2. Find a woman with extremely high magic resistance. Someone capable of surviving the curse and bearing his child. Then, out of nowhere, she starts trying to find him a match, but Oscar stops her immediately and asks, "Do you have high magic resistance?" She says, "Obviously." And then, without hesitation, Oscar drops the most insane line. "Then marry me." Tina freezes, completely caught off guard. Oscar calmly declares, "As the one who conquered the tower, this is my wish." She instantly rejects him. No hesitation. A witch cannot be with a human, but Oscar doesn't back down. He keeps pushing, until she finally threatens to erase his memory. But that's when Oscar draws his sword, and Tina realizes something terrifying. That sword is no ordinary weapon. It can nullify magic. Meaning, her memory spells won't work on him. Now things get serious, so instead of fighting, they sit down and renegotiate. Oscar changes his demand. "Come with me to the kingdom for 1 year as my guardian." That is a valid wish, so Tina accepts. And just like that, the witch leaves the tower. Outside, they meet a very confused Lise. Oscar lies straight to his face. "This is Tina. She's an intern. She's coming with us to help break my curse." Lise just goes along with it, and the three of them head back to the kingdom. On the way, Oscar teases her. "If you like it there, you can stay longer." Tina immediately shuts him down. "Don't get any ideas. I will never be your wife." Oscar just smiles. "We'll see." The next morning, inside the kingdom, Tina takes things seriously. She casts multiple protective spells on Oscar. Now, most physical and magical attacks won't even affect him. Oscar calls it a cheat code, but Tina corrects him. He's still vulnerable to poison and mental attacks, so he's not invincible, just extremely hard to kill. Later that day, Lise gives Tina a tour of the kingdom. While walking, she asks an important question. Are there any other members of the royal bloodline? Because if there are, the curse might not matter as much, but Lise drops something dark. Years ago, there were many royal children, but then, a series of kidnappings happened, one by one. Every single child from the royal bloodline disappeared, until only one remained. Oscar. Tina goes silent. Something about this doesn't feel like coincidence, and right then, she notices a young mage struggling to hang chandeliers using magic, and instantly realizes, yeah, She's going to have her hands full in this kingdom. The chandelier suddenly snaps and comes crashing down, right toward the young mage. Before anyone can react, Tina casually raises her hand and stops it mid-air, like it's nothing. She gently lowers it, saves the girl, and just walks away. No flex, no explanation. Everyone is stunned. How did she cast magic without chanting? But Tina doesn't even look back. A moment later, Lys catches up and thanks her. But Tina's attention is already somewhere else. The training grounds. A crowd of knights has gathered, watching two generals spar, and Dina. Both are strong, but it doesn't take long before Al dominates the fight, disarming Dina completely. Tina watches closely. That man. He's talented, Lys nods. He's the youngest general, and the strongest among them. That surprises Tina, but then Lys adds, still, he's no match for Oscar. He could beat him with one arm tied behind his back. Now that gets her interested. It's been a long time since Tina last picked up a sword. So, she steps forward and challenges Al. The entire field goes silent. But once the sparring begins, everyone is shocked. Tina keeps up with Al effortlessly, blocking, dodging, countering, like she's done this 1,000 times. She even tells him, "Don't hold back. Attack me again, and again." Meanwhile, Dina watches from the side, clearly not happy. The match ends, and Al is impressed. "You should have been a warrior, not a mage." That line shocks everyone, except Dina, who is visibly annoyed. Al shrugs it off. The prince brought her from the witch's tower. She's obviously special. Later, as Tina walks through the halls, a familiar figure appears. Lido, sitting casually on a tree. She smirks. "You look pretty comfortable here." Tina blushes slightly, but quickly changes the topic. "Why are you here?" Lido's expression turns serious. There's been movement near the haunted forest. Tina's face hardens. Instantly, something's wrong. Without wasting time, she changes her outfit and barges straight into Oscar's room. "I'm leaving for a few days." Oscar's caught off guard. "Where?" "I'll be back." That's all you need to know. Not good enough. He presses her. Finally, she reveals it. The haunted forest. Lys panics instantly. That place? A monster was sealed there 70 years ago. Tina nods, and something is trying to wake it up. That's all Oscar needed to hear. "I'm coming with you." She refuses. It's dangerous. But Oscar, he's not backing down. "I'll bring my best men." Tina sighs, and finally agrees. Soon, Oscar gathers his most trusted soldiers, among them, Sylvia, the clumsy mage Tina saved earlier. She nervously approaches Tina, trying to act cool, but freezes the moment she notices the tiny dragon on her shoulder. Then, Oscar arrives, and the mission begins. They enter the misty forest, dark, silent, heavy. As they move forward, Tina explains the truth. 70 years ago, a neighboring kingdom tried to invade. The war dragged on, until the enemy unleashed their final weapon, a demonic monster, completely uncontrollable. It slaughtered everything in its path. Enemy, ally, didn't matter. The destruction became so massive, Tina had to step in. She fought it herself, but even she couldn't kill it, so instead, she sealed it, put it into an eternal sleep. Suddenly, she stops. Her eyes sharpen. There. A shadow moves ahead. Out. Silence. Then, an old man steps forward, a hooded mage, and the moment he sees Tina, he smiles. "You. I remember you." Turns out, he was there 70 years. Ego, an assistant to the mage. Tina killed Tina. Instantly draws her blade, but the old man retreats and launches an attack. A rain of magical arrows pours down. Oscar reacts instantly, blocking, dodging, but two of his men get hit. Dina charges forward, but Oscar stops her just in time, deflecting arrows that would have killed her. Then Tina steps in, her weapon ignites, and she goes straight for the kill, but the old mage disappears, gone, just like that. The battlefield falls silent. Oscar notices something strange. He was hit by arrows, but took 0 damage. Tina's protection spells. Meanwhile, Sylvia struggles to heal the injured soldiers, but Tina walks over, places her hand on them, and instantly heals their wounds. Completely. Everyone freezes. That level of magic. Only one type of person can do that. A witch. And finally, Tina stops hiding it. "I am the Azure Witch of the Tower." Silence. Shock. Fear. Then she continues. "I made a contract with the prince. I will stay by his side for 1 year and help break his curse. After that, she turns. I'm going after him. But suddenly, Oscar grabs her arm. He's not letting her go alone. Ralph's words hang in the air. A man who has slaughtered nearly 500 sorcerers. Yet instead of rage, he speaks with cold logic. Zack is confused. He expected a brute. A monster. But this man is something else entirely. Ralph suddenly breaks the silence and asks, "Have you fought the sacred knight, Chastel? And if you did, was she ever a threat?" Zack answers honestly, "I don't know how much of a threat she was, but I do know one thing. She was the most formidable opponent I've ever faced." And just like that, Ralph makes his decision. Then she's useless to the church. Zack freezes. "What are you talking about?" Ralph reveals the truth. When the church wanted to continue hunting the archdemon, Chastel opposed them. Not only that, she gave up her title as a sacred knight. To the church, that's betrayal, and betrayal only has one punishment: death. Zack is stunned. Why would she put herself in that position? Before he can process it, Ralph stands up. My business here is done. But Zack realizes something terrifying. This wasn't a visit. This was confirmation. Ralph came here to prove the connection between him and Chastel, so he could justify killing her. Zack stops him. Calm, but deadly. Chastel has friends in this town, and this town is my territory. If you step out of line, you'll answer to me. Ralph pauses, then laughs. An archdemon? Protecting humans? How interesting. But that just means you're another ember that needs to be extinguished before you become a wildfire. The tension explodes. Barb immediately panics. What the hell are you doing? Just kill him now, but Zack stays calm. Instead, he gives Barb an order. Go to the church. Check on Chastel. Barb snaps. Are you trying to get me killed? But Zack doesn't budge. You can teleport. You'll be fine. And I'll give you more books. That's all it takes. Barb disappears. Later that night, Zack returns home. Neffy is waiting for him. She should have been asleep, but she stayed up because Vale wanted to wait for him. She smiles softly. The books are already arranged. Everything is ready. Zack sits beside her, and for a moment, everything slows down. They lean closer, closer. Boom! Barb teleports in, completely ruining the moment. Zack is furious. Barb is confused. But then, everyone notices the girl in his arms. Chastel, unconscious, pale, poisoned. Zack instantly takes control. Neffy, prepare, everything. They rush to save her. Suddenly, Vale wakes up, and the moment she sees Chastel, her expression changes. Pure hatred. Her dragon claws emerge, and she lunges. But Zack stops her instantly. This girl is a guest. I won't let you harm her. Vale is shaking with rage. You don't understand. Someone with a sacred sword killed my father. The room goes silent. But Zack doesn't back down. Killing her won't change anything. The real killer will still be out there, living freely. Vale glares at him. What do you know about revenge? Zack's voice turns cold, dark. Revenge isn't about killing. It's about breaking someone. Completely. Body, mind, soul. Until they beg for death. And even then, you don't give it to them. The room freezes. Even Neffy is shaken. Vale whispers, Have you done that before? Zack looks away. I tried, but they died too quickly, and it meant nothing. Then he looks back at her. When we find the real one, you can bring them here. I'll help you. Now even Vale doesn't know what to feel. Who is this man? Sometime later, Chastel finally wakes up. Zack is sitting beside her. You were poisoned. You're alive. Thanks to Neffy. She struggles to remember. A letter. A meeting. Someone from inside the church. Talking about coexistence between humans and sorcerers. But before she could learn more, she was poisoned, Zack thinks. It wasn't Ralph. He would have killed you directly, which means Something bigger is happening, and now, Chastel is right in the middle of it. Oscar drives his blade straight into the core of the largest plant, but instead of dying, it releases a thick, strange gas. Poison. Oscar's eyes widen. Before he can even warn Laz, one of the plants strikes first. A burst of toxin hits Laz directly, and he collapses instantly, unconscious. Oh, Laz. Oscar rushes toward him, but suddenly, a voice echoes from behind. What exactly are you doing here? Oscar turns and sees a beautiful red-haired woman standing there, watching calmly. She looks at Laz. Then back at Oscar. I can help him. A while later, Laz slowly opens his eyes. He's lying inside a small house. Safe. Confused? Oscar. What happened? You're fine, Oscar says calmly. She gave you an antidote. Right on cue. The red-haired woman walks in, placing tea beside him. Laz tenses up. Who are you? She smiles. Luke, the witch of the Forbidden Forest. Laz almost jumps out of bed, but she just laughs it off casually. Then her gaze shifts to Oscar. Tina's doing well, I assume? Oscar frowns. You know her? Luke nods. I recognize the barrier on you immediately. She hasn't changed. Laz, being Laz, immediately spills everything. This guy literally climbed her tower alone and asked her to marry him. Oscar shoots him a deadly side-eye. Luke bursts out laughing. So that's how it is? Oscar sighs. She refused. She's just my protector. Luke leans forward slightly, now clearly interested. You know, I could help you. A love potion. Very effective. Oscar shuts it down. Instantly. No. That answer only makes her smile. Wider. She stands up slowly, and suddenly, Oscar feels a sharp pain in his head. For just a moment, raises her hands casually. Relax. I'm not here to fight. I don't do that kind of thing. The tension lingers, until Laz quickly interrupts. Yeah, we should probably head back. The next day, everything seems normal. Tina returns. Did anything happen while I was gone? Oscar pauses, then lies. No, nothing. Tina notices it immediately. Something feels off. The next morning, Oscar wakes up exhausted. Even after a full night's sleep, Tina stops him. You're not resting properly. I'm fine, he replies. But he's not. His vision blurs. Slightly. Something is wrong. Tina starts investigating. She questions Laz. Has Oscar been seeing someone? Laz panics. No, definitely not. And just like that, Tina figures it out. She storms into Oscar's room. Did you meet Luke? Oscar sighs. Yeah. I didn't want to worry you. Tina's expression turns serious. That woman cursed you. She's draining your life force. Every single night, Oscar freezes. If we don't stop it, you'll die within a week. Silence. Then, what do? We don't break it from the outside. It's too dangerous. We destroy it. From inside your dream, that night, Oscar lies down. Tina sits beside him, asleep. He closes his eyes, and instantly, he's somewhere else. A massive castle, a quiet room, and inside, Tina. But something feels wrong. She smiles at him. I love you. I'll marry you. Oscar walks closer, confused, when suddenly, his body moves on its own. His hands wrap around her neck. He panics. Stop! But he can't control it. His grip tightens, and crack. Her neck snaps. Oscar wakes up violently, breathing heavily, staring at his own hands. What did I just do? Tina calmly looks at him. The curse is gone. He turns to her, furious. Don't ever make me do that again. That same night, Tina goes to meet Luke, and she is not happy. You think this is a joke? Luke just laughs. Relax, it was just a prank. Tina's eyes narrow. She's not amused. Luke sighs. Fine. Sorry. She hands her a strange vial. A little gift. The next morning, Tina returns. Oscar pulls her close, makes her sit on his lap, and hugs her tightly. I'm sorry for killing you, she softly replies. I'm sorry for making you do it. Days pass. Peace returns. One morning, Tina watches from above as Oscar trains his soldiers, and it's obvious, no one can match him. Not even close. Ol steps forward, key horn. Me try. Oscar smirks. Go ahead, the duel begins. and ends just as quickly. Oscar completely dismantles him, effortless. He lowers his sword and looks around. Anyone else? But no one steps forward. Silence. Then, Oscar's eyes shift. He spots Tina, quietly walking away after watching the match. He smirks. Hey, you're leaving already. She stops, turns slightly. I've seen enough, Oscar calls out again. How about a spar? The entire training ground freezes. Tina immediately shuts it down. No, there's nothing in it for me. Oscar doesn't back off. Think of it as training. For me. And you can use magic. That makes her pause. Then, she turns and starts walking down the stairs. Fine, but I'm not using those boring wooden swords. Her eyes lock onto him. Use your legendary blade. Now everyone's locked in. This isn't a spar anymore. This is a real fight. The moment it starts, Tina goes on the offensive. Magic. Circles form instantly around her. Blobs of pure mana. Firing rapid blasts at Oscar, he blocks, deflects, steps back, but she's already there. Closing the distance. Steel. Clashes. Dina and Al watch in shock, because this is not how mages fight. Tina is different. She dominates from long range and destroys in close combat. Perfect balance. Perfect control. Even Oscar is struggling. Dina narrows her eyes. She's not just fighting. She's testing him. Al nods slowly, and teaching him at the same time. Meanwhile, Tina smiles mid-fight, like she's enjoying this, like she's analyzing him. She suddenly casts an invisible vine. It shoots toward Oscar, but he dodges instinctively. Tina pauses. Interesting. So you do have some aptitude for magic, and just like that, she ends the fight. That's enough for today. She walks closer and starts healing his wounds like it's nothing. Oscar looks at her. You weren't going all out. Tina shrugs. Casting at full power. At that speed, against you. Not easy. Later that day, Oscar is summoned by the king. His father looks serious. We've received a letter. An emissary from the kingdom of Kus is on their way. Oscar frowns. For what? The king answers, they want to meet. The witch of the azure moon. Silence. Oscar's expression darkens. That information was supposed to be secret. Someone leaked it. The king leans back. I'll leave the decision to you. Soon after, the emissary arrives. A man named Keg. Polite, smiling, too confident, he bows. I've come to meet the great witch. Oscar plays dumb. I think you're mistaken. Witches are just myths. Cog doesn't even blink. Please, don't insult me. Just ask her to meet me. Meanwhile, Tina is outside, casually having tea. With Luke. Because apparently, chaos follows her everywhere. Oscar walks in. We have a situation, he explains. She listens, then simply stands. Fine, I'll meet him. Back in the court, Keg's eyes light up the moment he sees her. Respect, excitement, greed. All of it in one glance. He praises her. Then, gets straight to the point. The kingdom of Kus was built by exiled mages. We want your knowledge. Help us grow, advance, become stronger. Tina doesn't even hesitate. No, the room goes cold. You want my help without earning it? You didn't climb my tower. You didn't even try. Her voice sharpens, and now you expect me to abandon my position. For cowards? That's it. Conversation over. She turns and walks away. Oscar follows. Behind them, Keg stands there, humiliated, furious. Outside, his eyes darken, and then he notices Dina, alone. Perfect. Back inside, Luke speaks calmly. That kingdom is dangerous. They have over 200 mages. Oscar's eyes narrow. That's insane. A normal kingdom barely has 30. Then suddenly, footsteps. Dina rushes in. Sword drawn, eyes empty. She attacks Tina. Instantly. Tina reacts. Dagger out, ready to counter, but Al jumps in and stops them both. Oscar draws his blade and puts it against Al's throat. Explain. Now. Al panics. She just snapped. Luke steps forward. Not snapped. Controlled. By a mage. Most likely Cog. The realization hits instantly. Oscar turns to Tina. Can you save her? She nods. Steps forward. Begins the healing. Oscar gently pulls her back for a second. She'll be okay, right? Tina looks at him. Relax. The next day, Tina takes Oscar back to the tower. No distractions, no politics, just training. She draws her sword. From now on, we train seriously. Oscar smiles and draws his. Days pass, then weeks. Every day, she pushes him. Harder, faster, stronger. He gets thrown around. Beaten. Overpowered. Again and again. But he keeps getting back up. Every single time, until slowly he starts changing, growing. Because Tina isn't just training him, she's preparing him for something much bigger. To become a wildfire one day. Zaken is confused. He expected a man who's killed over 500 sorcerers to be loud, brutal, and reckless. But instead, Ralph is calm, calculated, and far more dangerous than he looks. Breaking the silence, Ralph asks a simple question. Has Zaken ever fought the sacred knight, Chastel? And if he did, was she ever a threat? Zaken answers honestly. He's not sure how much of a threat she really was. But one thing is certain. She was the most formidable opponent he's ever faced. And that answer alone seals her fate. Ralph immediately declares that Chastel is now useless to the church, and should be eliminated. Zaken is caught off guard. What the hell is he talking about? That's when Ralph reveals everything. When the church wanted to continue hunting the new archdemon, Chastel opposed them. She even abandoned her position as a sacred knight. To the church, that's betrayal, and betrayal means death. Zaken is stunned. How could she put herself in such a dangerous position? Ralph stands up, ready to leave. His job is done. But Zaken realizes the truth. This wasn't a visit. It was confirmation. Proof of Zaken's connection to Chastel. A perfect excuse to execute her, so he stops him. Calm, but deadly. He warns Ralph that Chastel has many friends in this town, and this town belongs to him. If Ralph steps out of line, there will be consequences. Ralph laughs. An archdemon, protecting humans? Interesting, but to him, Zaken is just another spark, and the church will snuff him out before he becomes an inferno. After he leaves, Barb questions Zaken's decision. Why protect the knight? Why not just kill her? Zaken lowers his gaze and gives an unexpected answer. Then help me. Barb grabs him by the collar. Do you want me dead? But Zaken clarifies. He doesn't want him to fight. He wants him to check on Chastel at the church. Make sure she's safe. With his teleportation magic, it'll be easy. And of course, Zaken sweetens the deal with rare books. That's enough for Barb. He disappears instantly, leaving Zaken with the bill. Later, Zaken returns home and finds Neffy waiting for him. She should have been asleep, but Vale wanted to wait for him. Instead, she passed out from exhaustion after working all day. Neffy even organized all the books Zaken brought, ready for him to read. Zaken sits beside her. A quiet moment, a rare moment. They lean closer, almost about to kiss, but of course, Barb teleports in, yelling his name. Zaken is furious. Perfect timing. Ruined. But Barb doesn't notice. Because in his arms is Chastel. Pale. Weak. Poisoned. Zaken immediately takes control, ordering Neffy to prepare treatment. As they gather around her, Vale wakes up, and the moment she sees a sacred knight, her hatred explodes. Her arm transforms into a dragon claw, and she lunges to kill Chastel, but Zaken stops her instantly, grabbing her arm mid-attack. This ends now. Vale is furious. Why is he protecting her? But Zaken stays calm. Chastel is a guest, and no one touches his guests. Still shaking with anger, Vale admits the truth. She hates all sacred knights. Because one of them killed her father. Zaken doesn't argue. Instead, he tells her something cold, something real. Killing Chastel won't bring her peace. Because the real killer will still be out there, living freely. Vale snaps back. What do you know about revenge? Zaken's expression darkens, and his answer shocks everyone. Real revenge isn't about killing, it's about breaking someone, mind, soul, dragging them into despair, until they beg for death. And then, you don't give it to them, you keep them alive, until you're satisfied. Silence fills the room. Even Neffy is shaken. Vale asks if he's ever taken revenge. Zaken nods, but it ended too quickly, and he felt nothing. So this time, he'll do it right. When they find her father's killer, he'll bring them back here, and Vale can take her time. That answer leaves both girls stunned. Who, exactly, is this archdemon? Sometime later, Chastel wakes up, but alive. Zakin sits beside her and calmly tells her the truth. She was poisoned and only survived because of Nefi, but the real question remains. Who poisoned her and why? To be continued. Oscar doesn't hold back. He grabs Tina by the cheeks. Why are you avoiding me? Tina stays calm, but slightly flustered. She explains she's been busy deciphering his curse, trying to find a way to break it. Then she shows him the curse itself. Elegant, simple, yet terrifyingly powerful. The work of the Witch of Silence, a curse so perfectly crafted that breaking it becomes even harder. Oscar just sighs, telling her not to stress over it. They're not in a rush. She can take her time. But something still feels off. The next morning, Tina returns to the castle. Everything seems normal, until Al approaches her. Serious, he says he found something strange about Mira. She claimed to be related to General Retard, but there's zero proof. No records, no history, nothing suspicious. Even deeper investigation? Still nothing. She's basically a ghost. That's when Tina realizes something is definitely wrong. Because when she first searched the entire continent for a suitable bride for Oscar, she found no one. Only witches were capable. And now, suddenly, Mira appears out of nowhere. With overwhelming magic power? Yeah. That's not coincidence. That's a setup. So they decide to test her. Al comes up with a plan, and it's bold. He pretends to kiss Tina, right in front of Mira. If Mira is just chasing the queen title, she'll ignore it. But if she has other intentions, she'll react. Mira sees everything, and walks away. Silent. No reaction. At first glance, nothing happens, but they don't realize. Oscar saw it too, and he's furious. Later that day, he calls Tina to his chambers. Something is clearly wrong. He asks what she's been doing. She casually replies, research and tea. But when she tries to get closer, Oscar suddenly grabs her arm and activates a magic nullifying ornament. Her magic, gone. Just like that. Now she's confused. What is he doing? Oscar finally snaps. He's been patient. For too long, he didn't bring her here just to watch her be taken by someone else, and in a moment of emotion, he pulls her in, dragging her toward the bed, trying to assert control. But the second he does, Tina freezes. That nightmare. The white-haired man. It comes flooding back. Her fear explodes. Her magic goes completely out of control, destroying the entire room. Oscar immediately realizes this isn't normal. He grabs her face, calling her name, trying to bring her back, and it works. She calms down, shaking. He apologizes. He didn't mean to hurt her. He was just afraid of losing her. Tina apologizes too, for destroying the room. Then Oscar asks the real question. Why Al? And finally, she explains everything. The plan, the test, the fake kiss. Oscar pauses, then casually drops. I already beat him up. Outside, Tina just stares. He then tells her, never hide anything from him again. But Tina admits she didn't want to ruin his chance to fall for someone like Mira. That's when Oscar gets fed up completely. He drags her to the court and makes a declaration in front of everyone. Even if he finds someone capable of bearing his child, he will never marry anyone except Tina. The entire court is stunned. Politics? Alliances? He doesn't care anymore, and then he turns to Mira and orders her removal until her past is fully investigated. But it's already too late. Tina suddenly senses it, a disturbance in the castle barrier. She pushes Laz away, right, as Mira reveals her true form and attacks. Tina tries to counter, but her magic is still sealed by the ornament. Oscar jumps in, trying to protect her, but he's too late. A blade slices across Tina's eye. Blood. She's partially blinded. Chaos erupts. The court is evacuated. Immediately, Tina tries to heal herself, but only partially succeeds, and then Mira smiles, calling forth her familiar, and what appears shocks everyone. It's the same monster Tina killed before, resurrected. Using its core, Oscar steps forward. This time, I'll handle it. The beast attacks instantly, but Oscar blocks it head-on. Meanwhile, Tina tries to go after Mira, but the beast intercepts her, forcing her back. Oscar counters, launching the monster into a wall. Tina quickly analyzes. She needs time. A long incantation to destroy it, but Oscar gives a different order. Forget the beast. Kill Mira. Tina shakes her head. Killing her is easy, but they need answers. She wants her alive. So the roles split. Oscar versus the Beast. Tina versus Mira. And now, the real battle begins. Mira spreads the magic spheres across the floor. A trap is forming. Tina tries to destroy them with magic, but nothing works. The barrier is too strong. Mira smirks and launches a sphere. Tina blocks it, but is still pushed back. Oscar and Tina regroup instantly, back to back. Tension rises. Tina makes the call. She needs time to cast a full incantation. Oscar doesn't hesitate. Leave it to me. He steps forward alone. The Beast charges first. Thinking Oscar is distracted. At the same time, Mira targets Tina, but Oscar reacts faster. He pushes the Beast right into the attack. A direct hit. The creature crashes to the ground. Mira tries again. A spell aimed at Oscar, but it's instantly nullified. Oscar doesn't stop. Rushes the Beast. The monster bites down on his sword. But Oscar is already one step ahead. He grabs a magic sphere and forces it straight into the Beast's throat. Boom. The explosion tears the monster apart. Nothing but fragments remain. Mira clicks her tongue, about to cast another spell, but it's too late. Tina finishes her incantation. A dark domain expands instantly. The entire space is swallowed in shadow. Mira is trapped, but only for a moment. She breaks out. Tina doesn't panic. Know where she's going. Mira flees straight into the armory, searching for something. Powerful gem. But before she can reach it, Tina appears behind her and lifts her into the air. For the first time, Mira cracks. Her confidence collapses into panic. Despair takes over, and in a final desperate act, she destroys her own soul. Her body collapses into a coma. The battle is over. That night, Tina finally heals her injuries. Oscar watches her carefully and once again asks her to reconsider his marriage proposal. Tina still refuses, but this time, her answer isn't as sharp as before. Time passes. Months later, the kingdom of Kuss grows stronger by the day, and somewhere far away, a white-haired man appears again. The same figure from Tina's nightmares. He burns an entire village to ash, not for conquest, but as a message, a warning. Back in the kingdom, Oscar is asleep, peaceful, until Tina quietly enters his room. She has done it. She found a way. The curse is gone. Using her own blood as a catalyst, she breaks the Witch of Silence's spell completely. The next morning, Oscar wakes up. His body is covered in red, tattoo-like markings. Tina is asleep beside him. He wakes her in confusion. "What did you do to me?" She calmly explains, "The curse is gone. He is finally free. Free to choose his own future." Oscar asks why she did it while he was asleep. Tina simply sighs. "You're easier to deal with when you're not arguing." Then she gets up, exhausted, and disappears in a flash. Days later, a royal ball is announced, the king's birthday celebration. Oscar insists Tina attend. She refuses immediately. A witch at a royal party? That's scandalous. Their argument is interrupted. Laz arrives with urgent news. The neighboring kingdom's prince won't attend. Their lands have been attacked by forces from Kuss. Instead, the princess will come in his place. Tina pauses. Something about that name feels wrong, but she pushes it aside. For now. Outside on the balcony, Tina suddenly asks Oscar a strange question. "Do you like my dragon?" Oscar is confused, but nods. He likes the beast. Tina smiles faintly. "Then it likes you too, for he can react." She transfers ownership of the dragon to him. Oscar is stunned. "Why would you do that?" Tina doesn't answer directly. Instead, she steps closer and kisses him. A quiet, sudden moment. That night, the royal ball begins. Nobles fill the hall. Oscar brings Tina in. She feels out of place, but stays by his side. The king thanks her personally for freeing the prince from his curse. But the peace doesn't last long. Princess Cecilia arrives and immediately sets her sights on Oscar. Flirting, smiling, calculating, but Oscar ignores her completely. Instead, he asks about her kingdom's situation, specifically the threat of Atrax. That catches her attention, and just like that, she pulls him away for a private audience. Meanwhile, Tina steps outside, alone. She watches the lights of the castle, and feels something she can't explain. Relief. Loss? Uncertainty? She doesn't know. But suddenly, a ripple spreads through the castle barrier. Her expression changes instantly. Something is wrong, and she rushes back toward Oscar, because somewhere inside the palace, he's no longer safe. The princess keeps talking, non-stop, flirting, teasing, throwing everything she has at Oscar. But he doesn't react, not even slightly. Annoyed, she pushes further. "Why don't you lie down on my lap?" Before Oscar can even respond, the window explodes open. Tina enters .com, direct, and demands an urgent private talk with Oscar. The princess instantly loses her temper. "Who the hell do you think you are? Just barging into the prince's chamber like this?" She insults Tina, calls her a lowly mage, tells her to leave. That's when Tina's expression shifts. Cold, dangerous. She warns her, "Leave, now, or I'll turn this room into dust." The princess freezes, looks at Oscar for support, but he says nothing. That silence is enough. She storms out. Now, alone, Tina walks up to Oscar, and without hesitation, she disables the protective barrier she placed on him. Oscar is shocked. "Tina, what are you doing?" But she doesn't answer properly. Instead, she tells him something strange. "Forget me. Focus on your kingdom, your life." Oscar tries to move, but he can't. Frozen, and then, space tears open, a portal appears, and a white-haired man steps through. He looks at Tina, and smiles. "You've grown even more beautiful." Tina's expression softens instantly. Leonak, a name from the past. She runs to him, and for the first time, she smiles like she's found something she thought was lost forever. They embrace. Leonak glances at Oscar. "Who is this?" Tina replies casually, "Just someone I had a contract with." Already over, already irrelevant. But then Leonak notices something. Oscar is holding the legendary sword of Acacia. His tone changes instantly. That could be dangerous. He raises his hand, about to eliminate Oscar, but Tina grabs him. "No, he's nothing important. Let's go." Oscar is stunned. Everything is slipping out of control. The contract is gone. Tina is leaving. He grabs his sword, but Tina stops him cold. "If you hurt him, I'll fight you myself." For a moment, Oscar realizes something terrifying. He could win this fight, but he can't hurt her. Not, even if he wanted to. Leonak calls her back. And without hesitation, he pulls her into a portal. They disappear. Just like that, Oscar is left. Alone, shaking, furious, broken. The next day, the entire castle avoids him. He hasn't left his room. Hasn't spoken to anyone. Even Laz admits he's in a worse mood than ever. Then, the door opens. Oscar steps out. Calm, controlled. 2. Calm. He hands Laz his paperwork. "I'm going to meet Luke." No explanation. No discussion. Before anyone can stop him, Luke appears in front of him already, waiting. They return to his chamber. And this time, Luke tells the truth. Tina's past, 100 years ago. A kingdom called Tolder, a system where power decided marriage. The strongest mage would marry royalty, and Tina was the strongest. She was engaged to Leonak, the prince. At first, everything was perfect. Love, trust, power. But then, politics changed everything. Leonak became greedy. He wanted all of it. One night, he drugged Tina, took her to a cathedral, and betrayed her. He stabbed her over and over, while chanting rituals, to steal her magic. But something went wrong. Her mana rejected him. Exploded out of control, a magical disaster, a bomb of pure power. In a single night, the entire kingdom was erased. Tina survived, barely. 3 days of pain, unmoving, unbroken. And when she finally stood again, she was no longer human. She was something else, an immortal witch. Since then, she has been searching for Leonak, not to save him, not to forgive him, but to finish what started that night. Luke looks at Oscar. "And you?" Oscar answers without hesitation. "I'm going to kill Leonak." A pause. Then, "And bring Tina back." Luke raises an eyebrow. That's not how she works. But Oscar doesn't care. At that moment, a messenger interrupts. War has begun. The kingdom of Kus has launched a full invasion, and the king has a request. Kill the witch fighting for Kus, and Oscar refuses immediately. King is furious, but Oscar stands firm. Tina isn't the enemy. She's being forced, and he will bring her back. The king smiles coldly. Then you'll take the throne. A. Trade. Power for permission. Oscar accepts without hesitation, because now, this isn't politics anymore, it's personal. And so, the kingdom begins preparing for the looming war. A few days pass. Without warning, Tina appears before the Prince of Terry. He had missed the royal birthday celebration due to the rising tensions of war, and seeing her now only fuels his anger. "You've got some nerve showing your face here," he snaps, drawing his sword and pointing it directly at her. The blade trembles in his grip, but his defiance is loud. One of Tina's subordinate mages steps forward, warning him to be careful with his words, but Tina raises a hand, silently stopping her. The mage backs off immediately. Tina turns back to the prince, calm and composed. "In a few days, this will all be over," she says. "Just don't march into coups during that time." The prince scoffs. "Like hell, I will listen to a witch like you. I'll crush your entire army of mages myself." That finally irritates her. Tina tilts her head slightly. "Tell me, have you ever even properly swung that sword before?" Then her tone sharpens. She reminds him of the atrocities committed by his kingdom 300 years ago during the Dark Ages. But the prince fires back, claiming he is not responsible for the sins of his ancestors. Tina doesn't flinch. "What your kingdom did wasn't history," she says coldly. "It was slaughter. Children playing at soldiers, mothers holding their families, all turned to dust as your armies marched forward without hesitation." Her gaze hardens. "Go read your history books again." Then she turns away. A final warning lingers in the air. "Don't march on coups." The prince curses under his breath, but one sharp, silent glare from Tina is enough to shut him down completely. That night, the war council gathers. Lanark sits at the center with his generals, studying a large map of the continent. 4 great kingdoms have united against them. Even so, Lanark shows no fear. "We can handle them," he says casually. At his words, a new vision of the continent forms on the table, a massive magical barrier enclosing Kuss entirely. The generals are stunned. Is something like that even possible? One asks. Lanark smiles faintly. "With the Witch of the Azure Moon on our side, anything is possible." He explains how Tina's knowledge allows such a barrier to be constructed piece by piece, reshaping the battlefield itself. Tina says nothing, but she notices something off. Lanark's expression flickers. Momentary instability, a nervous crack beneath his confidence. His composure returns quickly, but the others have already seen it. Later, after the meeting, a general asks Tina about Lanark's behavior. She responds calmly. "There's a reason witches are almost always women on the mainland." The general listens. The male body can't endure this level of mana. It breaks the mind before it breaks the spell. Her eyes narrow slightly. And Lanark's dream of covering the continent in a barrier will remain just that, a dream. Meanwhile, in Terry's kingdom, Oscar is growing increasingly restless. 7 days have passed since the alliance of 4 kingdoms was formed. And still, no movement. "What the hell are we waiting for?" he snaps. Sylvia suggests they may still be recovering from their previous defeat, but Al disagrees. They should be confident enough by now. Just then, a messenger arrives with grim news. Another village near Pharsis has vanished. Completely wiped out, just like the others. Oscar clenches his fist. The same pattern is repeating across all 4 kingdoms, and yet they remain helpless. For a brief moment, he wonders if Tina might be involved, but before he can think further, "Your Majesty, Princess Cecilia requests an audience." Oscar sighs. He has no choice but to accept. Cecilia enters the room dressed in elegant pink, smiling as if she owns the place. "Are you cold?" she teases. "I have ways of warming you up." Oscar cuts her off immediately. "What do you want?" Her smile widens. "Another woman visits your room every night." That gets his attention. She leans closer. "I'm talking about the Witch of the Azure Moon." Oscar quickly denies it, but Cecilia continues anyway, revealing that the same mysterious woman has been visiting her brother nightly, and tonight is no different. Oscar stands up instantly. Take me to him now. Meanwhile, Prince Ru stands alone on his balcony, waiting for Tina, but instead, bang, the door is kicked open. Oscar storms inside, furious, sword drawn. What the hell are you doing? He demands. And Ru freezes, to scream for Tina not to appear, but it was already too late. Tina shows up with two of her followers. Only to freeze the moment she sees Oscar standing right in front of her. For a split second, she can't even move. Her subordinates panic and try to pull her away, clearly afraid of Oscar, especially because he's holding the legendary sword of Acacia. Oscar shouts at her to come back, but just as suddenly as she appeared, she disappears again. The next morning, Oscar has had enough. He marches out with his army, clearly frustrated, mumbling about how Prince Ru wasted all their time. As they wait, Luke suddenly appears out of nowhere, complaining about how overworked she is. But then, she drops some crucial information. None of the villagers actually disappeared. They're all alive, safe, inside their homes. Tina simply created a massive magical barrier, one that protects them and hides them from the outside world. Luke explains that Tina won't defend herself, so it's Oscar's job to become her shield and clear up the misunderstandings. Oscar understands immediately. He relays everything to the other generals, and while they're skeptical, none of them dare question his judgment. Suddenly, a portal opens. A blue-haired mage steps out, introducing himself as Bar, the chief mage of Kuss. He offers to escort them to witness the future of their world under King Lanak. Everyone prepares for battle, but Oscar accepts the offer. Bar smirks, saying they never really had a choice anyway. And just like that, they're teleported. When they open their eyes, they're standing in ancient ruins, surrounded by enemy mages. And above them, Lanak. He calmly reveals the truth. These ruins are what remains of the great kingdom of Tolder, a kingdom destroyed by Tina. And now, he declares the beginning of his rule, by marrying Tina. And anyone who refuses to obey will die. Tina, summoned, she looks surprised, but quickly plays along, sitting on a throne like nothing's wrong. Lanak places his hand on her shoulder and begins draining her mana to ascend into something close to a god. 5 massive magic circles appear in the sky. Everything is about to end. But suddenly, Tina disrupts the flow. The spell collapses. Lanak is stunned, but Tina finally reveals her plan. She waited all these years, not for revenge, but for control over the magic circles, and the countless souls trapped within them. Enraged, Lanak orders his mages to attack. Tina's followers defend her, but Bar breaks through. Just as he's about to strike, Oscar steps in, slashing the attack apart. He asks Tina what to do, and she gives him one simple task: hold them off for 10 minutes. And just like that, all-out war begins. Steel clashes, magic explodes, chaos everywhere. Oscar dominates his battlefield, even taking down Bar in a single decisive strike. Meanwhile, his dragon wipes out the summoned monsters. And then, Tina plays her final card. She summons the 12 spirits of Toldar. 12 hooded figures appear in the sky, and in an instant, they annihilate the battlefield. Lanak is broken, completely defeated. He tries to escape, but it's already over. Oscar confronts him and asks one final question: how did you feel when you killed Tina? Lanak replies coldly, she was nothing but a tool. That was his last mistake. Oscar cuts him down without hesitation. The war is over. Oscar walks back toward Tina, while the other generals demand her execution. Tina accepts it. She's ready to die. But Oscar? He collapses before he can even raise his sword. A week later, Tina wakes up, alive, confused. She asks why. Oscar smiles and tells her the truth. To everyone else, she's no longer just a witch, she's his fiancée, and no one dares question a king's bride. She denies agreeing to it, but Oscar doesn't care. He reminds her they still have 6 months left, plenty of time to make her fall for him, and that's where the story continues. So if you enjoyed this part, make sure to subscribe for part 8, and don't miss this insane anime about a loser who gets reincarnated as a prince with godlike power.